Today I want to discuss custom servers and what they can do for a game like Battlefield. This video is in response to a lot of people on Reddit and social media starting to discuss a forum post that was made on Anarchy Gaming back on the 19th of August. And the poster stating that EA were directly recruiting the resources of major server providers to sell on to gamers so they can create their own servers on the PC platform. This move would potentially cut out large numbers of server settings and plugins, removing a lot of control from communities who like to run their own servers, changing settings like ticket count, match length, vehicle respawn time, etc. None of this activity has been confirmed or denied in any official statement by EA or DICE, but I wanted to give my own opinion on the situation anyway, given that everyone else is doing it. It's worth noting that if this rumour were to be true, EA and DICE will have shifted server rentals on PC towards a system that they currently use on the consoles. The outcry from the community seems to be that people aren't happy with this reduction in flexibility. Firstly, from a purely community-driven standpoint, the removal of the current custom server system from the Battlefield franchise could be hugely detrimental to its success on the PC platform. Many smaller communities and clans have grown and built themselves around this franchise, and they like to use their own settings on servers so they can curate their experience to something they enjoy. For example, I was speaking to Lutin, another Battlefield YouTuber, last week about this, and he stated he will be looking to rent his own server for Battlefield 1 so he can play with specific settings with his community. Whether that will be setting up 32-man conquest servers and disabling vehicles, or ramping it right up and going for 64-man rush on Operation Locker, the freedom to choose your own settings for gameplay is an integral part now of the Battlefield series, and it has been for a very long time. To remove features of this magnitude will lead to, first of all, disgruntled server admins and owners who no longer can curate their experience, and secondly, potentially lead to less people purchasing the game. Having read through various threads on Reddit about this topic, it's clear people would not be happy if their freedom of options was removed in favour of a more simplistic option set in place by DICE themselves. It is worth pointing out again though that if what people think is happening is a complete removal of control from anyone who chooses to purchase a server, if the rumour is to be believed, that won't be the case. The change would be to a more locked down, vanilla experience, where major settings for servers like ticket count or round duration would be set by DICE and could not be controlled by a server owner. With that being said though, I do feel that removing any sort of control up to the level currently being offered in Battlefield 4, for example, would be a detriment to the environment on the PC platform. Freedom to choose has become an integral part of the Battlefield PC community now, and from what we've already seen on Reddit, I think it's very clear that people would not be happy with a change of this nature. I'm not simply focusing on the PC community because that's all I'm interested in. This change is something that would reflect what is now available on console for anyone who wants to rent their own server. I know that console rentals for servers are extremely popular. There are plenty of servers out there that simply run Operation Locker on like 5,000 tickets or 400% more tickets or round time. There are loads of servers out there that do that on the console platform. It's just that the PC platform has been very much used to extensive coverage when it comes to server rentals, and they can have as many plugins as they like and heavily curate the experience, rather than this watered down version that DICE have got for the consoles. I'm not trying to be positive and negative for PC and console here, it's just a different environment, and I do appreciate that console server owners may have this concern as well. It may be that you want more control over your server and would prefer to have what PC owners have right now. Next, I'd like to look at this from a creative standpoint. I'm sure you're aware that there are plenty of people out there in the Battlefield community that love to create content like screenshots, artwork, and videos, purely from the game itself. Personalities like Shadow 6, Burdu, Tolik, Hoodoo Operator, and many more create fantastic productions from Battlefield games. Hoodoo was the creator of the 3 trailers for the free DLC offered in Battlefield 4, Night, Legacy, and Community Operations. And the screenshot crew, Burdu, Tolik, Shadow 6, and various others, are almost solely responsible for the thumbnails on my channel for the last year and a half. Without people like these guys, the community would become a very bland place indeed, and the only way that they can create this content is with custom private servers. Being able to password protect a server, lock out unwanted guests, is a huge deal. Being able to create and piece something together with only the people you need is a painstaking process. If someone were to try and record a video in a public server and produce something of the quality on the level of Hoodoo's trailers, then they must be from some other planet. Not only that, but the settings allow people to be creative by turning things off, like anti-cheat. The Battlefield community has wanted mod tools for as long as the franchise switched over to the Frostbite engine, but they've never come along. The community instead came up with their own solution. HattyWatty produced the cinematic tools. Now these are essentially a hack and cannot be used in public servers and require the server to be private and all layers of anti-cheat to be disabled. If the rumour of the simplification of server rentals was to include the removal of private, password-protected servers, you'd see a huge decline in the frequency of creative content. Sure, the community would find another way of producing and working around the system, but putting blockades in their way is never a good start. People want to be creative, and if the new system is to be true, creativity would be stifled. This next point comes from the view of DICE and EA themselves, I think, the other side of the coin. I'm sure they thought about this, but renting servers produces income. Income that can help increase the profitability of their game and keep investors happy. Implementing a simplified system could reduce that income stream. As I said earlier, removing the freedom of options was enough for many players over on Reddit to announce they wouldn't even buy the game, let alone rent a server. The knock-on effect may not be as massive as the community is proclaiming it to be. Again, these rumoured changes are only likely to affect the PC player base, but the last thing you'd want to do is remove selling points from your game and reduce the profitability overall. To balance out this argument, let's look at one of the positives. What good can come from EA and DICE simplifying the server options and plugin system for PC players? Well, for one, it would unify the Battlefield experience, meaning you could join any server and expect a similar playstyle no matter which one you were on. This could lead to less confusion and aggravation from players not realizing they joined a server where the assault rifles had been banned, for example, or where the server randomly selects a different map and mode at the end of each round rather than following an ordered rotation. This change would bring a sense of order to the chaos that's sometimes found in the server browser. The descriptions on the servers are never particularly easy to understand, and the server settings themselves were labelled in language that only certain experienced server owners could easily utilise. I've tried to set up a server before in Battlefield 4, and if you don't know what you're doing, it can be a bit of a nightmare. If this new system were to come into effect, that layer of confusion would be removed and simplified options would help create a more singular Battlefield experience, close to what DICE intended the game to be in the first place. One last point to make, and I've referred to this several times already, at this point DICE and EA have not released any official information regarding the rental of servers for Battlefield 1. The information from which this rumour started came from a forum over a month ago and has no credible source to be believed. I'm not saying that this rumour couldn't be true. Certainly creating a parity between renting servers on console and PC may be clearer to players overall, but what we need to remember is that the PC community and console community for Battlefield, in many cases, are extremely different. I'd state to anyone that on an issue such as this, it's always best to wait for official information. But as we get closer and closer to the release, with still no word from EA or DICE, I can understand the frustration. Clearly the voice is loudest for the server rental system to remain as it was in Battlefield 4, and if you feel that reducing the level of freedom and reducing the level of control over server settings is a concern to you, I'd encourage you to speak up and let people know. You have an opinion on a game that you like to play, and if you like the way that it is right now, then you should tell them. There's a link to the Reddit post in the description if you want to go and leave your thoughts there, but as always you can just leave them down in the comments, where I'm sure there will be a heated debate as always. I hope in this video that I've presented a good overall view of the situation, and if you had a little understanding of what was really going on and what everyone was talking about, then I hope you've learned something. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll be there reading as many as I can. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.